Huawei P40 Pro with Android 10. The price is around €640. The phone does not have Google services, but whether it is such a significant disadvantage in practice, later in this video. Honestly, when I unbox it, I didn't expect it to be so massive. 6.58 of an inch screen with over 91% screen to body ratio looks very nice, but it's thick and heavy. Maybe this is not entirely fair to Huawei, but compared to Nokia 8 from 2017, weighing only 160 grams, it feels the difference with a weight of 226 grams. I feel the difference in the hand. This tells a little about the direction in which the current flagships are going. The priority is performance, not portability and convenience. So, Huawei is also clearly thicker than Nokia 8 and P30 Lite, although the difference is only 1.1 mm. But to sum up, the phone is massive, but it has some kind of elegance in it. After a few months of use, I must say that I even like it. What I like about this phone is its durability. I am surprised in a very positive way. Due to the weight, size and rounded screens, I expected that any fall would cause irreversible damage to the casing and screen. However, the phone had already fallen several times to the ground, including concrete pavement. Importantly, without the silicone case protecting the phone edges. From a height about 1.5 meters. It's amazing how it bounced off the ground with its edge for about 20 centimeters and then calmly lay down with the screen on the concrete in uneven pavement. When I picked up the phone, I was sure it was the end of the screen, as my previous much lighter P30 Lite had a smashed screen with falling from a much lower height. However, when I picked up the phone, it turned out that the screen had no damage, and the only sign of this fall was an external, barely noticeable scratch on the bottom corner of the phone, one that bounced like a basketball from the ground. My phone also fell directly from the screen side on a terracotta floor, from a height of about 50 to 60 centimeters, and still zero damage. Again, I was totally amazed. It is certainly the most durable and resistant to physical damage smartphone that I have ever used. We have the USB Type-C port, which is also used for fast charging. What is specific, we do not have an audio jack here, but in the set with the phone we get wired headphones connected by the USB Type-C port, and I must say that these headphones have one huge advantage. Very good microphone. For me, personally, the lack of an audio jack socket is not a problem. I use Bluetooth headphones or USB Type-C headphones. You can also buy a jack to USB adapter. What I can say about the battery is that it charges really fast, so it's obviously good. But it also could drain really fast if you are using phone with some kind of conference with video on and something like that. Then it could also drain really quickly. But it's not a big problem because you could also fast charge it. So I think it's like neutral, right? I like the fast charging, so the draining of the battery is not such a big problem for me. Of course, we have 40 watts charging. You can also charge it with induction, but I don't like it. I like when it come fast, so I prefer to traditionally charge it. Now I want to say about the biggest plus of this phone, I think. This is the fingerprint reader built into the screen. It works very well, so well that it is almost unnoticeable in everyday use. And what I can say that I think this is how the fingerprint reader on the phone should work. That's all. I think it's brilliant. The infrared enhanced face recognition system is probably the strongest point of this phone. Due to the 3D scanning, there is no problem with it, even in the dark places. The phone does not need any additional light to recognize the face. Compared to my previous P40 Lite, where there was only 2D face recognition, this is a huge leap forward. The phone's face recognition is very good. It needs a very small angle to unlock the phone. I think this is how the facial recognition on a smartphone should work. I think it's flawless. What I like about this phone the most is the amazing screen to body ratio, above 91%. The OLED display is very good with colors. I like it very much. But what is more important, I am very positively surprised by the scratch resistance of the display. You can clearly see the difference between P40 Pro and the older model of the tablet. I think that better materials and technology have been used here with the display with P40 Pro. But what about Google services? I honestly admit that I was afraid of the lack of Google services. Is it worth spending a few €100 on a flagship without access to the Google Play Store? It will not turn out to be useless, I thought. But these fears turned out to be completely groundless. First, we use the phone clone that comes pre-installed on the phone to download the applications from the old phone. Second, instead of Google Play, we use the App Gallery search engine as a main source of the applications. When we can find application in the App Gallery, we have to open the Petal search engine, select application in the search field, and download files for installation from another source, which is mostly APK Pure. Although there is sometimes some voices regarding the safety of such a solution, so far I have not noticed any problems with using this download route. Google Maps works. With my normal use, I did not notice any differences or problems, but I know that some other videos report limited functionality. I don't notice that. Uber works, although not through the application, but through a shortcut from the browser. For me as a user, the effect is generally the same. Facebook works normally. OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive and cloud storage, saving photos directly to the cloud, works without any problems. Although as far as I remember, I had to download the Office probably through Petal and APK Pure. Radio applications working. Most of the email applications work. Gmail can be configured via the email client, but I do not use Gmail on a regular basis, so I will not comment on this topic. The applications from Xiaomi for the use of home devices works, although I also had to download it via Petal and APK Pure, similar applications for the Samsung Galaxy smartwatch. So it's working, but you have to search it through other search engine, like in Petal. YouTube application doesn't work, but there are replacements that have even more options like background playback, for example YouTube Advanced. And these other variants of YouTube, of course, working perfectly without any problem. My banking apps working completely without any problems. As a side note, it is worth noting that the lack of Google services can be a plus if we don't want to be forced to bind the smartphone to a Google account and provide it with additional information. So the lack of Google services can be viewed as some privacy plus, right? The quality of the sound is very good. The innovative solution of using the screen as a loudspeaker in a classic telephone conversation is not a big obstacle, although I prefer talking through the loudspeaker or headphones. It seems that the sound from the microphone is not noticeably better then, so I prefer headphones or loudspeaker. I will not elaborate on the quality of photos and videos because I'm not an expert in it. You can find a lot of tests of the smartphone cameras on the internet. In terms of the movies, I expected a slightly higher degree of image stabilization, but I think it's okay. It has very good night photos. The camera collects more details in the absence of light than we see with the naked eye when taking a photo, so it is very interesting. It is worth paying attention not to use the flash when you are photographing the documents. A better photo comes out without additional lighting from the flash when you are photographing the documents, because the lenses really easily pick up the natural light. So to sum it up, the pros of the smartphone is display, durability, working speed. I think it's very good cameras, useful pre-installed software, good microphone with loudspeaker, and very fast charging. Regarding the lack of Google services, I will not regard it as a weak side of this smartphone, because it's not a problem at all for me. So I don't view it as a weak side of this phone. Weak sides of this phone are the weight, 226 grams. It's I think it's heavy. Also its thickness, average quality of microphone with standard calls, not with the loudspeaker, but with standard calls like phone close to the ear. The microphone could be slightly better. With intensive use, the battery can discharge in a noticeable time. So maybe the battery could be better. But overall, I think it's a very good phone. The lack of Google services is not a problem at all, and I think it's worth its money.